Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Philippines President Marcos meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his first state visit to India. Key agreements to be exchanged. National Democratic Alliance MPs adopt resolution praising armed forces for Operation Sindoor and Operation Mahadev. Hails Prime Minister Modi's leadership during challenging times. India counters Trump's tariffs threat, terms US and EU criticism unjustified and unreasonable, says will take all necessary steps to safeguard its interest and economy. 6 years of Article 370 abrogation, a historic turning point in India's constitutional and political journey. Investments, infra upgrades, tourist footfall hike, marked changes in Jammu and Kashmir. Philippines President Marcos is currently holding a meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Hyderabad House in the national capital. Both the leaders are holding bilateral talks. India and Philippines share close bonds based on the foundation of civilizational, historical and people-to-people connections. Comprehensive discussions aimed at further cementing our enduring friendship and strong bilateral relations lie ahead. Later in the day, the visiting minister will also meet his Indian counterpart, Draupadi Murmu. Diplomatic relations between India and the Philippines were established in November 1949. Both the countries have since developed a strong partnership across a wide spectrum of areas, including trade and investment, defense and security, maritime cooperation, agriculture, healthcare, pharmaceuticals and digital technologies. The two countries also engage closely at regional level, including through India's comprehensive strategic partnership with ASEAN. India's relations with the Philippines are an integral pillar of our Act East policy, Vision Mahasagar and our vision of the Indo-Pacific. The forthcoming state visit of President Marcos coincides with the 75th anniversary of India-Philippines diplomatic relations. Earlier, the Philippines president received a ceremonial reception at the forecourts of Rashtrapati Bhavan. The visiting President Marcos reaffirmed the alliance and the partnership the two nations share in strengthening the bond. The leader also said that Indo-Pacific is the correct evolution of Asia-Pacific. The visiting dignitary was given a ceremonial welcome at Rashtrapati Bhavan in the morning today.
It is a reaffirmation of the alliance and the partnership that we are strengthening. Where we used to refer to the Asia-Pacific region, we now refer to as the Indo-Pacific region, which is I think, a correct evolution of that understanding because of the global nature of all of politics and of all of trade and all of the economy. And to build upon what we already have had, but certainly to explore the many opportunities that have arisen in the past few years because of the new technologies and the changing state of the global economy and the geopolitics around us now.
President Marcos also paid his tributes to Father of the Nation, Mahatma Gandhi, at Rajghat by laying a wreath. The National Democratic Alliance Parliamentary Party meeting was held in New Delhi on Tuesday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and top NDA leaders, including Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, attended the meeting. During the meeting, a resolution was passed unanimously by NDA MPs on the success of Operation Sindoor and Operation Mahadev. Condolences were also paid to the family members of the victims of the Pahalgam terror attack. New MPs were also introduced to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Modi was welcomed and felicitated with a thunderous applause amid chants of Har Har Mahadev after the success of Operation Sindoor and Operation Mahadev at the NDA Parliamentary Party meeting. Let's take a look at the key highlights of the resolution passed at the NDA Parliamentary Party meeting. Members lauded the exceptional leadership displayed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during these times. His unwavering resolve, visionary statesmanship and resolute command have not only steered the nation with purpose, but also ignited a renewed spirit of unity and pride in hearts of all Indians. The Pahalgam terror attacks saddened and enraged everyone, in response of which, on the intervening night of May 6th and 7th, India launched Operation Sindoor. Through military might and resolute leadership, justice was delivered, reaffirming that India does not forget and never forgives terror. It resonates with India's commitment to peace, zero tolerance towards terror, and commitment to do whatever it takes to uproot terrorist infrastructure if circumstances so demand. After the NDA government assumed office in 2014, this has been the norm. The people of India have not forgotten how prior to 2014, terror infrastructure was spread extensively across India. Bomb blasts across our big cities, be it Patna, Bengaluru, Mumbai, Guwahati, Varanasi, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad and even Delhi were common. This change has been greatly appreciated by people of India. The resolution also highlighted India's approach to such challenges in the future. First, if there is a terrorist attack on India, a fitting reply will be given. We will give a befitting response on our terms only. We will take strict action at every place from where the roots of terrorism emerge. Secondly, India will not tolerate any nuclear blackmail. India will strike precisely and decisively at the terrorist hideouts developing under the cover of nuclear blackmail. Thirdly, we will not differentiate between the government-sponsored terrorism and the masterminds of terrorism. August 5th marks a historic turning point in India's constitutional and political journey. On this day in 2019, the Government of India revoked Article 370, ending the special status of Jammu and Kashmir, a move hailed by many as a step towards integration, equality and development. 6 years on, we look back at the constitutional transformation, the intense parliamentary debate and the positive changes on the ground. Here's a special report.
Article 370 was introduced as a temporary provision in 1949, drafted by N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar. It granted special status to Jammu and Kashmir, allowing the state to have its own constitution, its own flag, and considerable autonomy, except in matters of defense, foreign affairs, and communication. This provision was based on the instrument of accession signed in 1947 by Maharaja Hari Singh after Pakistan-backed forces invaded the region. Over the decades, Article 370 created a unique constitutional setup, one that remained contentious. On August 5th, 2019, a decisive move was made, the government invoking the powers of the President under Article 371 issued a presidential order redefining the term Constituent Assembly to mean the Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. With the state under President's rule at the time, Parliament assumed legislative powers and passed concurrent resolutions in the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, effectively abrogating Article 370 and rendering Article 35A inoperative.
अनुच्छेद 370 के खंड 3 द्वारा प्रदत्त शक्तियों का प्रयोग करते हुए राष्ट्रपति संसद की सिफारिश पर यह घोषणा करते हैं कि यह दिनांक जिस दिन भारत के राष्ट्रपति द्वारा इस घोषणा पर हस्ताक्षर किए जाएंगे और इसे सरकारी गैजेट में प्रकाशित किया जाएगा, उस दिन से अनुच्छेद 370 के सभी खंड लागू नहीं होंगे, सिवाय खंड 1 के नामक तदनुसार पढ़ा जाएगा.
It wasn't just a constitutional maneuver, It was a moment of high drama and passionate debate in the parliament. In the Lok Sabha, the resolution to revoke Article 370 was passed with 351 votes in favour and 72 against, with one abstention. The Jammu and Kashmir Reorganisation Bill 2019 was also cleared, paving the way to bifurcate the state into two union territories, Jammu and Kashmir with a legislature and Ladakh without one. A day earlier, Rajya Sabha had also passed a resolution marking an unprecedented constitutional development. In December 2023, the Supreme Court upheld the abrogation in a unanimous verdict, observing that Article 370 was always meant to be temporary. The court also stated that Jammu and Kashmir had no internal sovereignty separate from India, and the Indian constitution now fully applies to the region.
कि 370 से जम्मू कश्मीर का और विशेषकर घाटी के युवाओं का भला नहीं हुआ है। आतंकवाद के रास्ते पर जो युवा गए सबको, मैं तो जिनके मन में अलगाववाद की भी भावना है या 370 के लिए भी जो लोग सोचते हैं कि हमारा कुछ छिन गया, मैं सबको विनम्र भाव से कहना चाहता हूं ये सदन का उपयोग कर कि आप हिसाब किताब तो करिए कि आपको 370 से क्या मिला। रोटी मिली, शिक्षा मिली, सुख सुविधा रोजगारी मिली, आरोग्य मिला, क्या मिला 370 से? क्यों झुनझुना पकड़े हुए हो? 370 है, वो जाने से धीरे धीरे हम घाटी के सभी लोगों को अपने नजदीक ला पाएंगे। उनके मन के अंदर एक नई आशा, नया उमंग, वहां पर जो विकास होगा।
Since the abrogation, the region has witnessed significant decline in terror incidents, stone pelting and separatist violence. The improved national security and increased presence of central laws, the law and order situation has seen marked improvement. For the first time, several central welfare schemes became accessible to people of Jammu and Kashmir, especially to women, scheduled caste and other marginalized communities. Discriminatory local laws were repealed, bringing gender justice and social equity in line with the rest of India. Tourism, which is the backbone of the region's economy, has seen a sharp rise. New industrial schemes like Prime Minister's Development Package and the Industrial Development Scheme have attracted investments and created job opportunities for the local youth. As Jammu and Kashmir embarks on a new journey within the constitutional framework of India, the abrogation of Article 370 remains a watershed moment. A move once called bold and controversial is now credited by many for unlocking peace, prosperity and parity for the region. Bureau Report, DD India.
The Indian government has strongly hit back at the US after Donald Trump threatened to substantially raise tariffs on goods from India over its purchase of Russian oil. In a statement issued by Ministry of External Affairs, the government stated it has been targeted by the United States and the European Union over its purchase of Russian oil. It said that India began importing from Russia because traditional supplies were diverted to Europe after the outbreak of the conflict. The United States at that time actively encouraged such imports by India for strengthening global energy markets stability. The government added that India's imports are meant to ensure predictable and affordable energy costs to the Indian consumer. They are a necessity compelled by global market situation. However, it is revealing that the very nations criticizing India are themselves indulging in trade with Russia. Unlike our case, such trade is not even a vital national compulsion. The ministry put forth figures of EU's oil trade with Russia, saying in 2024 they had a bilateral trade of 67.5 billion euros in goods with Russia. In addition, it had trade and services estimated at 17.2 billion euros in 2023. This is significantly more than India's total trade with Russia that year or subsequently. European imports of LNG in 2024, in fact, reached a record 16.5 million tons, surpassing the last record of 15.21 million tons in 2022. The government also mentioned that Europe-Russia trade includes not just energy, but also fertilizers, mining products, chemicals, iron and steel, and machinery and transport equipment. Talking about the US, the MEA said that America continues to import from Russia uranium hexafluoride for its nuclear industry, palladium for its EV industry, fertilizers as well as chemicals. Thus, the Indian government categorically stated that in this background, targeting of India is unjustified and unreasonable. It also clearly stated that like any major economy, India will take all necessary measures to safeguard its national interests and economic security. The last rites of Jharkhand Mukti Morcha founder and former Chief Minister Shibu Soren will be performed today in his native village Nemra near Barka Nala in Bokaro district. The 81-year-old tribal leader and veteran politician breathed his last on Monday morning at Sir Gangaram Hospital in New Delhi after prolonged illness related to kidney complications. A large number of supporters, political workers and tribal community members are also expected to gather to bid farewell to the Dishom Guru, the title commonly used to refer to Soren, acknowledging his leadership among the tribal communities. On this very day, 5 years ago, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for construction of Ram Temple at Ram Janmabhoomi in Ayodhya. Let's take a look at the historic event.
August 5th, 2020, Ayodhya, Uttar Pradesh. A historic date. On this day, 5 years ago, Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone for the construction of the grand Ram Temple. This marked the auspicious beginning of the construction of the magnificent temple for Ram Lalla.
सदियों का इंतजार आज समाप्त हो रहा है। राम मंदिर के लिए कई सदियों तक कई पीढ़ियों ने अखंड अविरत एक निष्ठ प्रयास किया है। आज का ये दिन उसी तप, त्याग और संकल्प का प्रतीक है।
This is the same birthplace.
Report in a while from now, but at present we'll get you the latest we're getting from Hyderabad House. The bilateral talks have ended and the press statement is happening. Exchange of MOUs will also take place. We have the bilateral talks conclude between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and visiting Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
We shall witness some examples of India-Philippines bilateral cooperation. These are by the way of exchange of MOUs, declarations, terms of references, treaties, cooperation program and joint release of a postal stamp. First, we shall witness the exchange of two documents. These are the Declaration on the Establishment of Strategic Partnership between the Republic of India and the Republic of Philippines and the Plan of Action for Implementation of Strategic Partnership between the Republic of India and the Republic of Philippines, 2025-2029. These would be exchanged together by Her Excellency Ms. Teresa Lazaro, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs from Philippines, and Dr. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister of India. Ministers, please. Thank you, Ministers. Next, we have the exchange of three documents. These three are the terms of reference between the Indian Air Force and the Philippine Air Force on air staff talks, the terms of reference between the Indian Army and the Philippine Army on the Army-to-Army staff talks, and the terms of reference between the Indian Navy and the Philippine Navy on the Navy-to-Navy talks. These will be exchanged all at once by His Excellency Mr. Gilberto Teodoro Jr., the Secretary of National Defense on Philippines, and Dr. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister of India. Thank you, Ministers. Next, we have exchange of two more documents together. These are the Treaty on Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters between the Government of Republic of India and the Government of Republic of Philippines, and the Treaty on Transfer of Sentenced Persons between the Government of Republic of India and the Government of Republic of Philippines. These will be exchanged together on the Philippine side by His Excellency Mr. Jesus Crispin Remulla, Secretary for Department of Justice, and on the Indian side by Dr. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister. Thank you, Ministers. Next, we have the exchange of program of cooperation in the field of science and technology for the period 2025-2028 between the Department of Science and Technology of the Republic of India and the Department of Science and Technology of the Republic of Philippines. These would be exchanged on the Filipino side by His Excellency Mr. Renato Solidum, Jr., the Secretary for Science and Technology, and on the Indian side by Shri Pavitra Margarita, Minister of State for External Affairs and Textiles. Thank you, Ministers. We next have the exchange of the implementation program between the Department of Tourism of the Government of Republic of Philippines and the Ministry of Tourism of the Government of Republic of India on Tourism Cooperation 2025-2028. This would be exchanged on the Philippines side by Her Excellency Cristina Frasco, Secretary for Tourism, and on the Indian side by Shri Pavitra Margarita, Minister of State for External Affairs and Textiles. Thank you, Ministers. We next have the exchange of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Government of Republic of India and the Government of Republic of Philippines on the cooperation in the field of digital technologies. These would be exchanged on the Philippines side by His Excellency Mr. Henry Royal Aguda, Secretary for the Department of Information and Communication Technology on the Philippine side, and on the Indian side by Shri Pavitra Margarita, Minister of State for External Affairs and Textiles. Thank you, Ministers. Next, we have the exchange of the Statement of Intent between Indian Space Research Organization, Republic of India, and the Philippine Space Agency, Philippines, on cooperation on the peaceful uses of outer space. This would be exchanged on the Philippine side by Dr. Gay Jane Perez, Deputy Director General of Space Sciences and Technology, Philippine Space Agency, and on the Indian side by Shri Vikram Misri, Foreign Secretary, Minister of External Affairs. Thank you, Secretaries. Next, we have the exchange of terms of reference for enhanced maritime cooperation between the Indian Coast Guard and the Philippine Coast Guard. This would be exchanged on the Philippines side by Admiral Ronnie Hale Gavan, Commandant Philippine Coast Guard, and on the Indian side by Shri Rajesh Kumar Singh, Defense Secretary. Thank you, sir. And the last document to be exchanged today is the Cultural Exchange Program between the Government of the Republic of India and the Government of the Republic of Philippines. This would be exchanged on the Filipino side by Mr. Victorino Manalo, Chairman, National Commission for Culture and Arts, and on the Indian side by Shri P. Kumran, Secretary East, Ministry of External Affairs. Thank you, sir. We shall now witness the joint virtual release of postal stamps from the two countries commemorating the 75th anniversary of India-Philippine diplomatic relation. I request the leaders to jointly press the green button, please. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the exchange ceremony. I now request the spokesperson of the External Affairs Ministry to command the rest of the proceedings. Thank you.
Namaskar and good afternoon. Your Excellency, Mr. Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., President of the Republic of Philippines, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Ministers, members of both delegations, distinguished guests, and friends from the media. We will now have the press statements. May I request Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, to give his remarks to the media.
Your Excellency, राष्ट्रपति जी, दोनों देशों के डेलीगेट्स, मीडिया के साथियों, नमस्कार, मबूहाय। सबसे पहले मैं राष्ट्रपति जी का और उनके डेलीगेशन का भारत में हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। इस वर्ष भारत और फिलीपींस अपने डिप्लोमेटिक संबंधों की 75वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहे हैं और इस संदर्भ में उनकी यह यात्रा विशेष महत्व रखती है। हमारे डिप्लोमेटिक संबंध भले ही नए हैं, लेकिन हमारी सभ्यताओं के संपर्क बहुत प्राचीन काल से है। फिलीपींस की रामायण, महाराडिया लवाना हमारे सदियों पुराने सांस्कृतिक संबंधों का जीवंत प्रमाण है। अभी जारी किए गए डाक टिकट, जिसमें दोनों देशों के राष्ट्रीय पुष्प हैं, हमारी मित्रता की महक दर्शाते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, हर स्तर पर संवाद, हर क्षेत्र में सहयोग लंबे समय से हमारे संबंधों की पहचान रहा है। आज मैंने और राष्ट्रपति जी ने आपसी सहयोग, क्षेत्रीय मुद्दों और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परिस्थितियों पर विस्तार से बातचीत की। ये प्रसन्नता का विषय है कि आज हमने अपने संबंधों को स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप का दर्जा देने का निर्णय लिया है। इस पार्टनरशिप के पोटेंशियल को परिणामों में परिवर्तित करने के लिए एक व्यापक एक्शन प्लान भी बनाया गया है। हमारा बायलैटरल ट्रेड निरंतर बढ़ रहा है और $3 बिलियन का आंकड़ा पार कर चुका है। इसे और मजबूत करने के लिए इंडिया आसियान फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट के रिव्यू को जल्द से जल्द पूरा करना हमारी प्राथमिकता है। साथ ही हमने द्विपक्षीय प्रेफरेंशियल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट की दिशा में काम करने का फैसला भी किया है। इंफॉर्मेशन एंड डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी, स्वास्थ्य, ऑटोमोबाइल्स, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, मिनरल्स, हर सेक्टर में हमारी कंपनियां सक्रिय रूप से काम कर रही हैं। विज्ञान और टेक्निक के क्षेत्र में वायरोलॉजी से लेकर एआई और एडिटिव मैन्युफैक्चरिंग तक जॉइंट रिसर्च चल रही है। आज संपन्न हुए साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी कोऑपरेशन प्लान से इसमें और गति आएगी। वाराणसी में स्थित इंटरनेशनल राइस रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट का रीजनल सेंटर अल्ट्रा लो ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स को इस वाले चावल पर काम कर रहा है। यानी हम साथ मिलकर स्वाद और सेहत दोनों पर काम कर रहे हैं। मुझे यह कहते हुए खुशी है कि डेवलपमेंट पार्टनरशिप के अंतर्गत हम फिलीपींस में क्विक इम्पैक्ट प्रोजेक्ट की संख्या बढ़ाएंगे और फिलीपींस में सॉवरेन डाटा क्लाउड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विकास में भी सहयोग देंगे। धरती पर तो हमारी साझेदारी मजबूत है ही और अब हमने अंतरिक्ष की भी तैयारी शुरू कर दी है। इसके लिए आज समझौता भी किया गया है। फ्रेंड्स, मजबूत हो रहे रक्षा संबंध गहरे आपसी विश्वास का प्रतीक है। मैरीटाइम नेशंस के रूप में दोनों देशों के बीच मैरीटाइम कोऑपरेशन स्वाभाविक भी है और आवश्यक भी। ह्यूमैनिटेरियन एड, डिजास्टर रिलीफ और सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन में हम मिलकर काम करते रहे हैं। आज जब राष्ट्रपति जी भारत में हैं, भारतीय नौसेना के 3 जहाज पहली बार फिलीपींस में नौसैनिक एक्सरसाइज में भाग ले रहे हैं। भारत की हाइड्रोग्राफी शिप भी इसमें जुड़ी है। इंडियन ओशन क्षेत्र के लिए भारत में बनाए गए इंटरनेशनल फ्यूचर सेंटर से जुड़ने के लिए हम फिलीपींस का स्वागत करते हैं। पहलगाम आतंकी हमले की कड़ी निंदा करने के लिए और आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हमारी लड़ाई में साथ खड़े रहने के लिए हम फिलीपींस सरकार और राष्ट्रपति जी का आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। म्यूचुअल लीगल असिस्टेंस और ट्रांसफर ऑफ सेंटेंस पर्सन्स के विषयों पर आज हुए समझौतों से हमारी सुरक्षा साझेदारी को और बल मिलेगा। फ्रेंड्स, भारतीय पर्यटकों को वीजा फ्री एंट्री देने के फिलीपींस के निर्णय का हम स्वागत करते हैं। भारत ने भी फिलीपींस के पर्यटकों को फ्री ई वीजा सुविधा देने का फैसला लिया है। इस साल दिल्ली और मनीला के बीच डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट्स शुरू करने के लिए काम किया जाएगा। आज संपन्न किए गए कल्चरल एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम से हमारे ऐतिहासिक सांस्कृतिक संपर्कों को बढ़ावा मिलेगा। फ्रेंड्स, हमारी एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी और महासागर विजन में फिलीपींस एक अहम साझेदार है। इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में शांति, सुरक्षा, समृद्धि और रूल बेस्ड ऑर्डर के लिए हम प्रतिबद्ध हैं। हम अंतर्राष्ट्रीय कानूनों के अनुरूप फ्रीडम ऑफ नेविगेशन का समर्थन करते हैं। अगले वर्ष फिलीपींस आसियान की अध्यक्षता करेगा। इसकी सफलता के लिए हम पूरा सहयोग देंगे। एक्सेलेंसी, इंडिया एंड द फिलीपींस आर फ्रेंड्स by choice and partners by destiny. From the Indian Ocean to the Pacific, we are united by shared values. Our is not just a friendship of the past, it is a promise to the future. Maraming Salamat po.
Thank you, sir. May I now request His Excellency, Mr. Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., President of the Republic of Philippines, to give his remarks to the media.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Ministers, our friends from the media, Namaskar. A pleasant day to all. It is but fitting to begin with words of profound gratitude. Thank you, Excellency, our friend and host, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, for receiving us so graciously and hospitably on this state visit. It is my great pleasure to be in India. This sojourn makes me the 5th Philippine president to undertake a visit to this great country, and indeed in the footsteps of my very own father, who was the first Philippine president to visit India in 1976. As emissaries of our people, I bring with me the enduring friendship of the Filipino nation. I carry the message of our solidarity with India, both over the tragic attack in Pahalgam earlier this year and in the broader fight against terrorism. Despite these challenges, I also bear felicitations on India's remarkable transformation and inexorable march to become Viksit Bharat by 2047. Under Prime Minister Modi's guiding hand. I come at a crucial juncture in our bilateral partnership. Today, our relationship enters a new epoch as Prime Minister Modi and I formally launched the strategic partnership between Philippines and India. For the Philippines, this is a momentous decision, for we take a very considered path to such elevated partnerships.
Today, India becomes only the 5th strategic partner for the Philippines. This new apex attests as much to the remarkably rapid growth, broadening and deepening of our 75-year-old bilateral relationship, the possibilities represented by the strong upward trajectory of our two economies, as it does to the growing alignment of our interests and views on the challenges and imperatives of our time. This was also the auspicious context in which Prime Minister Modi and I engaged in far-reaching, productive and forward-looking discussions this past hour. We agreed to continue leveling up our collaboration in defense and security. We expressed satisfaction over the rapid pace of the Philippines' ongoing defense modernization and the expanding capabilities and footprint of India's indigenous defense industry as a partner in this undertaking, exemplified by our BrahMos project. We concurred that we should be accompanied with intensified dialogue and exchanges between our defense establishments. So we have agreed to establish mechanisms for service-to-service talks, for information sharing and training exchanges amongst our militaries. We will foster naval and coast guard interoperability via port calls, in cooperative activities and capacity building in the maritime domain. The economic sphere has been a steady engine driving our ties for 7+ decades. True to our strategic partnership, Prime Minister Modi and I have charged our economic teams to shepherd our commerce, now at the $3.3 billion in the last year, towards a continued upward trajectory and expanded baskets of goods. To this end, we have decided to expedite the work that we are doing to forge a bilateral preferential trade agreement. We looked at leveraging mutual opportunities to boost two-way investment. Our fast-growing, innovative private enterprises will play an important role in our common march towards progress and development, facilitating innovation, technology transfer, and upskilling and generating employment for our people. For over a millennium, civilizational, cultural, and people-to-people ties have bridged our geographic distance. They will continue to be the enduring foundation of our friendship, and we will enact policies to make sure that this is so. In this respect, I reiterated our introduction of a visa-free entry privileges and extended our invitation for more Indian tourists to visit the Philippines. I thank Prime Minister Modi in turn for the introduction of a scheme to grant visa free of charge to Filipino tourists traveling to India. We welcome the resumption of direct flights from October this year and renewed our commitment to sustaining and expanding such direct air connectivity. Sea lines of communication crisscross the Indian Ocean. Maritime trade to and from the Far East and the Pacific through the Indian Ocean has and continues to underpin our prosperity and our people's aspirations that they have held for centuries. Safe navigation and security are important, especially for Filipino seafarers who are on almost every ship plying these historic and strategic sea lanes. I again thank the Indian people and the brave men and women of the Indian Navy through Prime Minister Modi for your kind rescue of our nationals in 2024 after a Houthi rebel attack. We recognize India's influence as first responder role in this critical area, and we want to work with you for a free and open Indo-Pacific. We both have high stakes in the future of our Indo-Pacific region and in the world. The Philippines-India strategic partnership will doubtless resonate beyond the confines of our bilateral relationship. Prime Minister Modi and I have committed to bring our collaboration to bear on shared concerns, a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific region, security and rule of law in the maritime commons, supply chain resilience, food security, countering terrorism, and other traditional and non-traditional threats. Relative to the maritime sphere, I thank Prime Minister Modi once again for India's support for the peaceful settlement of disputes and adherence to international law, especially the UNCLOS and the 2016 award in the South China Sea arbitration. As incoming chair of ASEAN for 2026, as current coordinator as well for ASEAN-India Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, I thank Prime Minister Modi for his government support for ASEAN, its unity and centrality, and our chairmanship in 2026. Let me close by once again thanking Prime Minister Modi, President Draupadi Murmu, and the Indian government and people for your great hospitality and the devotion shown to our relation. Indeed, today we herald a new era of closer, multidimensional, and impactful engagement between the Philippines and India. Mabuhay. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the press statements. Thank you for your presence, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so those were the visuals we're getting for you from Hyderabad House after the bilateral talks ended between Philippines and India. The President of Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., is in India for a 5-day visit, and he held bilateral talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Delegation-level talks were held between Philippines and India at Hyderabad House. MOUs were signed and exchanged between the two countries, and also the MOUs were signed in a number of areas. Remember, this visit comes at a time when India and Philippines are marking the 75 years of completion of diplomatic ties. Also, when we talk of the press statements given by both the leaders, then Prime Minister Modi, before the press statements, in fact, the joint virtual release of postal stamp marking 75 years of completion of diplomatic relations between the two countries took place. And after that, the two leaders gave their press statements. Prime Minister Modi talked of how both the countries are observing 75 years of diplomatic relations, but the contact between the two countries has dated back to centuries. Dialogue and cooperation in every area have been the cornerstone of the relationship. The Prime Minister also talked of how the relationship has strengthened over the years between the two countries, and also today the relationship has been elevated to strategic partnership, and an action plan has also been made with regard to this. The Prime Minister enlisted the different areas of cooperation that have in fact strengthened the relationship between the two countries. Information, digital technology, healthcare, minerals are witnessing collaboration between the two countries apart from other sectors. Maritime cooperation, humanitarian aid and disaster relief, and search and rescue operation are some of the areas where collaboration is being further strengthened through different projects. The Prime Minister also enlisted different projects between the two countries that would further give momentum to the relationship. Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked Philippines for expressing solidarity with India after the Pahalgam attack, and also India's approach of zero tolerance towards terrorism. The Prime Minister also talked of how the two countries have agreed for visa-free entry of Indian tourists to Philippines, and India has announced free e-visa services to tourists from Philippines. Direct flights will be operational between the two countries soon, and the Prime Minister concluded his remarks by saying that Philippines and India are not just friends by choice and partners by destiny. The friendship is not just of the past, but a promise of the future. And the visiting dignitary, President of Philippines, Marcos Jr., while giving his press statement, he expressed gratitude to Prime Minister Modi for the warm hospitality. Up on your screens, we are getting you the visuals of the delegation-level talks between the two leaders, which happened before the press statements were announced. Both the leaders gave us the details of the MOUs that were signed, but Marcos Jr. in his press statement talked of the bilateral partnership being elevated to strategic partnership. He also expressed solidarity with India on the Pahalgam attack and India's fight against terror. He said India is only the 5th strategic partner of Philippines after the bilateral partnership has been elevated to strategic partnership. Maritime cooperation and economic ties were mentioned by the visiting dignitary. He also appreciated the idea of direct connectivity between the two countries. Safe navigation and security is being appreciated, and he also, in fact, expressed gratitude and appreciated India's role as first responder in the region. He also enlisted other areas of cooperation between the two countries and how this visit heralds a new era of impactful multidimensional collaboration. At present, our
और आपके प्रतिनिधिमंडल का भारत में हार्दिक स्वागत है। आज का दिन हमारे द्विपक्षीय संबंधों के लिए एक ऐतिहासिक दिन है। हम भारत फिलीपींस संबंधों को स्ट्रैटेजिक पार्टनरशिप स्तर पर ले जा रहे हैं। इससे हमारे संबंधों को एक नई गति और गहराई मिलेगी। रक्षा और सुरक्षा क्षेत्र में हमारे संबंधों को बल मिलेगा। पिछले कुछ वर्षों में हमारे संबंधों में सभी क्षेत्रों में प्रगति हुई है। इसमें व्यापार, डिफेंस, मैरीटाइम, स्वास्थ्य, सुरक्षा, खाद्य सुरक्षा, डेवलपमेंट पार्टनरशिप और पीपल टू पीपल टाइज भी शामिल है। बहुत खुशी की बात है कि आज हम अगले 5 साल के लिए एक प्लान ऑफ एक्शन बना रहे हैं। एक्सेलेंसी, जुलाई 2027 तक फिलीपींस आसियान में भारत का कंट्री कोऑर्डिनेटर है। 2026 में आप आसियान चेयर की जिम्मेदारी भी संभालेंगे। हमें विश्वास है कि फिलीपींस के नेतृत्व में भारत आसियान रिश्तों को भी और मजबूती मिलेगी। एक्सेलेंसी, वैसे हम अभी जब बैठे थे तो करीब सभी विषयों पर काफी विस्तार से चर्चा हुई है, इसलिए मैं इसे ज्यादा रिपीट भी नहीं करना चाहता, दोहराना की आवश्यकता नहीं है, और इसलिए मैं आपसे भी आग्रह करता हूं कि आपका ओपनिंग रिमार्क्स हमारे लिए इन विषयों को आगे ले जाने में काम आएगा।
Thank you, Your Excellency Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the members of the Philippine and Indian delegations, good morning. It is a great delight to be in India as I follow in the footsteps of 4 of my predecessors, whose ranks, I am proud to say, include my father, who was the first Philippine president to come to India in 1976. I extend my compliments on India's remarkable achievements under your guiding hand, Mr. Prime Minister. Landing in Delhi, the evidence of rapid transformation and the energy of the world's 4th largest economy are readily palpable. I also extend my heartfelt appreciation, Mr. Prime Minister, for the hospitality and the honor you and your government have extended to me and the First Lady and our entire delegation. This morning's gracious welcome rites were a gesture of friendship that impressed on us the centuries-old civilization ties and kinship between our two peoples. I wish also to take this opportunity to thank you once again for previously approving our request for exemption from India's export ban on the non-basmati rice. It's a subject we touched on. It has been lifted, and we look forward to more exchanges on this vital commodity for the Filipino people. Our cooperation's tempo has increased in the last few years, and in security and defense, in trade, investments, health, and other fields of endeavor. I am elated therefore, today we further ratify this friendship by elevating it into a full-fledged strategic partnership. Even before the relationship of formal diplomatic recognition in 1949, there has certainly been long-standing trade and cultural links between our two countries. The Philippines and India continue to share values, interests, and concerns that have impacted our respective national security, particularly given the geopolitical developments on both the regional and international levels. Given these shared concerns, it is but natural for our two countries to intensify our partnership and to find ways to counter such security concerns. Our meeting today marks the high point of the 75th anniversary of our diplomatic ties, which will herald the future and a bright future of our bilateral journey. It is fitting that our very first meeting as strategic partners, and I look forward to our productive discussions and assure you of my commitment to work with you today and in the years ahead. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
All right, so those were the opening remarks by both the leaders before the bilateral talks began. And now that the bilateral talks have concluded, we've told you details about the MOUs that were signed and the press statements. Our correspondent Jessica Taneja is joining us on phone line. Jessica, before the bilateral talks began, both the leaders expressed mutual admiration for each other and also how this visit of the Philippines president provides an opportunity for the relationship to be strengthened and elevated to the next level, which we did see happen as the relationship was elevated to strategic partnership. Tell us more, to what extent has this relationship been further strengthened?
Well, Preeti, you've pretty much covered the length and breadth of what the engagements with the Prime Minister along with the President of Philippines, Marcos Jr. were today. And as you heard from the press statements from both of them, that the relationship has been elevated to a strategic comprehensive partnership. Now, Philippines has been a partner with India, both in its Mahasagar vision, which is security and growth for all, especially when it comes to the Indo-Pacific. You recall just last year as well how the Indian Navy had come to the rescue of the Philippines crew that was facing quite a lot of difficulties in the waters, and Indian Navy had rescued them from, it was quite a brave operation, and the rescuers, in fact, made a lot of diligent effort to sort of collaborate and make sure that the security is enhanced, especially when it comes to Indo-Pacific and piracy attempts that we see quite so often. So definitely Philippines is an important partner in the Indo-Pacific, but what stands out more between the two, especially, is the fact that both the countries are dealing with, a threat on the waters, which is particularly important to both the Philippines as well as India, as we see coercion in the Indo-Pacific. And with that given in mind, the cultural ties between the two have also enhanced over the years. Both have historic ties as well. Apart from that, there will be direct flights, as was announced by the Philippines President Marcos Jr. just a short while ago, and also enabling visa-free arrival for Indians. Now, that certainly is a step in the right direction, given the kind of tourism that we've seen from both the Philippines to India and the Indians going to the Philippines. So this is an important relationship, not just limited to the collaboration in Indo-Pacific, but also in the defense sector. You heard announcements there as well. So we could see multiple collaborations in the security sector as well, where there could be, more trainings as well as providing critical information, and also mutual legal assistance treaty. And that in itself is an important aspect of the relationship that has existed for the last 75 years, as both now celebrate, 75 years of diplomatic relations.
All right, Jessica, we leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details and updates. So that was our correspondent, Jessica Taneja, telling us more about the highlights of the bilateral meeting between the two leaders. President of Philippines, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., is on a 5-day visit to India. Just now, a short while back, we saw him hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister of India, and MOUs were exchanged. Later in the day, he will be meeting President Draupadi Murmu. We'll keep you updated. As of now, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran?
the Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.